Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me, whatever it is you're doing today on this beautiful day. It's sunny here, strangely, in Vancouver, and I have such a special guest for you. I have with me today Kerie Logan, and she is the creator of Master the Upper Rooms. It's a program all about elevating yourself and getting into that 4D space, really breaking through some of the trauma and mundane stuff we have going on. Kerie, thank you for joining me. You have so much in your background. You've been on this path for quite some time. You're a hypnotherapist. You also channel. You are an author. Welcome to the Witching Half Hour or so.
I can kind of, share a bit about my story and how things unfolded, because I'm sure when we experience a spiritual awakening, it's not like, boom, you have one. You
Right.
have a multitude of them, and it lines you up to where you really need to be and where your path is really going.
Mhm.
When I had my spiritual awakening, it was so strange because they talk about us raising our vibration and they talk about the ascension process. A lot of people think it's a place I'm going to go to. It
Mhm.
is not. It is
Mm-mm.
completely not. It is what I teach, Master the Upper Rooms. It is where you step out of the 3D human consciousness realm up into the four and you master every step. Your most hardest things, you've got to be harmonious with it. You've got to forgive. You've got to accept what happened, whether you liked it or not. You got to unconditionally love that villain because they are made out of light and love, just like you.
Mhm.
And you've got to forgive yourself. But the most other thing is you've got to learn the lesson of why you're here. If you've heard about the rules for being human,
Oh, no, I have not seen this.
yes. So the first one is you'll receive a body. The second one is you will learn lessons.
Mhm.
Okay. Third one, there are no mistakes, only lessons. The fourth one is a lesson is repeated until you learn it. And then the fifth one is learning lessons does not end. Number six is there is no better than here. Number seven is others are merely mirrors of you. Number eight is what you make of your life is up to you. I
Mhm.
love number nine because the answer lies inside you. Every answer. And
All
then
the time.
some people say there is a number 10, and that is you'll forget these lessons. And so when I say lessons, those people that were the most harsh and cruel to us are our teachers.
Once you started saying them, I have heard these. I just haven't heard them in this little, like,
Yes.
as the rules for being human or the
Yes.
concept of being human.
And so that person, when you know your soul group, because I'm trained in past life regression, life between
Yeah.
lives, they chose that in their soul group to be that person for you.
I so
Because
believe this. A
yes,
huge piece of my healing, and it wasn't an easy piece, but I choose to heal. I think you can choose not
yeah,
to heal, and that's
yes,
fine. But one of the pieces I struggled with, and my humanity struggles with it, pieces of me struggle with it. But when I'm in my power and I'm in that soul connected space, I know that the main perpetrator in my life came here and took on a ton of karmatic debt in
yes,
order to free our family line from
yes,
the abusive patterns.
yes,
So that still means that me, Jodiana, as a person, needs lots of physical boundaries from this person. There's a lot of rules around how we interact, both legally and personally. But on a soul level, they have taken on so much karmatic debt from a place of deep love so that the children in our family will not continue this pattern I am the chain breaker.
Yes.
He is the chain.
100%.
And it's a hard place to get to. It's one of those things where we often struggle as humans because two things can be true. I can need boundaries and I can forgive. Most things I find in healing are a yes and, not an either or, not that black and white thinking.
Correct. And black and white thinking is 3D human consciousness. So what I did, I'll give an example, and I'm sure you can relate to this, and a lot of your other listeners, is my son's father is a covert narcissist.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew how to love bomb me so easily.
Yeah.
And the things that he did were horrific. And I realized he is my teacher. And so when it came to me forgiving him and forgiving myself, I used the Ho'oponopono technique. And
Oh,
I said to him, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I couldn't give you the love that you wanted and the love that you deserved. And I'm sorry I didn't understand you because you deserve to be loved. And I know you sacrificed yourself for me. So thank you. Thank you for making that sacrifice. And I forgive you. And I'm forgiving all the karmic debt that is attached to you because I'm glad and blessed I'm not you. I'm glad and blessed I didn't take on your role. And please, please forgive me. And I love you for making this sacrifice because you made it for me and you made it for our child. And so I forgive you. And I forgive myself for being so angry at you and wanting to prove you wrong and wanting to hurt you and wanting to get vengeance on you because that was wrong. Then I was not honoring me and loving me. And so when I did all of that, I forgive the energy around it. I forgive the situation. I forgive all the arguments. I forgive everybody involved. And when I did, and then I handed it over, I literally felt and heard this whoosh, like this big ball of energy just being pulled out of me.
mm-hmm.
Whoosh. And then he leaves me alone.
That's
He complete,
amazing. So
he,
for anyone
yeah,
in the earbud coven that doesn't know, because you have expanded that prayer to fit the situation. So
yes.
in its nutshell, what are the four pieces of the Ononoponono? And I can never say it right.
Yeah, neither can I. It is, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you.
Yes,
So
can be used for anything. So you've
anything.
taken it and you've expanded the I'm sorry to specific pieces
Yes.
of the situation, and the I forgive you to specific
Yes.
pieces of the situation. And the
100%.
one of my dear and beautiful friends, he's taught me how to surf and he lives his life by that. And he taught it to me. And when he did, it's like by saying I'm sorry, which is hard to do when you're angry or when you're activated or when you're in a trigger space, to go to I'm sorry. But there's something that shifts the energy when you do that.
Sincerity. Got to be genuine and sincere. And you've got to find what you can say can be sincere because at times it was so hard for me to even come up why I would love this man when he was a monster.
Mhm.
Literally a monster, gave me PTSD. I had to have surgery on my heart because I developed such bad panic attacks and anxiety attacks. I had SVT surgery on my heart, and that's for veterans.
Yeah,
And when they did it, he said, "What side of your heart do you think it was on?" And I looked at him and I said, "Oh, I know it's on the right side because that's male energy."
yeah.
And he said, "Yeah, it was on the right side."
That's so interesting. There's so many parallels.
I want to kind of just share it with everyone because we've heard that saying, forgive and forget. And so
Mm,
many people don't like that saying, but I
yes.
want to tell you what it really means. What it means is when we honestly and sincerely and genuinely forgive, that garbage isn't in your face. It's not on your radar anymore. So, a good example is One time when my younger brother was getting married, he said, "What are you going to do? Dad's going to be there. What are you going to do?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do." And I wanted to be at the wedding, but I knew he would trigger me. I knew all these memories would come flooding back and I would just be saturated in trauma mode, totally hyper vigilant, totally survival, guarded, all of that stuff. Worry war, would lose sleep. I did go to the wedding, but yeah, I was all of that. And it was really uncomfortable. But when years passed and I did this forgiveness stuff and I really did it sincerely in all of it, the next time I saw him was when my older brother passed away. I was joyful. I was happy. I was like, "Hey, how to see and how you doing?" and stuff. No triggers at all. That he went to my younger brother and said, "What's wrong with her? Is she on drugs?"
I love how the quote unquote villain, the
Yeah.
one who's holding the toxic pattern, is seeing the healthy person with boundaries not being affected and right
Yes.
away going, what's wrong with that?
Yes.
So what I'm hearing you say is the piece of by releasing
Yes.
the
Because it's
energy
energy.
around resentment, you're freeing yourself. And that's the piece of forgiveness, because I believe you're right. A lot of people don't like the idea of forgive and forget. I think because it's tied into the prevalent idea in our culture of martyrdom or
Yeah.
doormatting or allowing people. And it's tied into this false idea of disempowerment and
Right.
allowing behavior. But there's, as you say, in the 4D idea of it, when you're elevated and you're in that soul connected space, the truth of it is you're disconnecting energetically
Yes.
from the pattern.
Have the
Ignoring the
memories,
pattern.
but I don't have the emotional energy hooked into me anymore. He
Mhm.
doesn't have those etheric cords hooked into me.
Mhm.
I cut them all and I freed myself. So when they do say forgive and forget, that forget is all that trauma isn't in your face anymore. You're not guarded, it's not on your radar. You can interact with them and you know who they are. I've said this many times. You can love them, you just don't like them. And
Yeah.
you don't like is their personality, their behaviors, the way they talk to people. So you know everything about them and you're the one in the position of power and you can agree to disagree. You know when to set healthy boundaries. You know when to be silent because you're not going to get through to them. And you just wish them well. I mean, literally at the end of the visit, I was there for a week going through his estate. At the end of the visit, my dad asked for a hug and I gave him one. And anyone who knows me would be like, "I can't believe you did that." And I was like, "Well, you know, I did it. I have no ill feelings towards him at all. No ill feelings at all. And I wish him happiness. And I know his life is miserable. And that's where I have compassion. That's where I have mercy for this guy because he reads the Bible twice a day, attends all church functions. But my relationship with God is, or you want to call our creator, whatever it is so beautiful. He will never have that. And that to me gives me compassion because he gave me that gift. He knew I had the strength within my soul, within my spirit to achieve this.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And it plays into what we were talking about, how the journey of healing and the journey of the soul and the journey of spiritual awakening isn't just one moment that shifts. It's multiple moments that shift, multiple pieces of healing, the ongoing lessons that come up and are learned.
Yes. And so when you talk about when we heal ourselves, we're healing our children, we're healing anyone that is in our soul group.
Mhm.
You're doing all the work because when I did my session, lives between lives, on myself with someone, I found out that my purpose was to remove all the generational trauma from my soul group in this lifetime. I had
That's
no idea.
heavy.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
heavy. That's a
It,
lot.
it is a lot. Well, and how I found out was when I was experiencing PTSD, I did EMDR. And
Mhm.
when I was 4 years old, I had this traumatic memory of watching my father yell at my mom and stuff, and it was in the kitchen, and I saw him beat her so bad she almost died for the second time.
Yeah.
And she, after she got out of the hospital, she left
Yeah.
and left me with this man for I think 6 or 8 months. And he was so angry at me that, and I didn't know any of this. All of this was so repressed. I learned all this in EMDR, but it was because of me. Because she was trying to protect me, she saw him touching me in an inappropriate way. Yeah.
Oh,
And
babe.
he beat the hell out of her to make his point. And so, because she left him, he told my older brother, she's bad. It's all her fault. And my brother at the time, we didn't know what autism was. He had autism, and he was so mad at me that he suffocated me to death. Yeah, he suffocated me. And I died and I went up.
Yeah.
And what I learned was, sorry, I don't want to get emotional here. Only half of my spirit wanted to come back. And it was like, no, you're a woman. This is too hard of a job to do. So I was gifted Tobias. And Tobias is a white lion from the planet Vega. So I was gifted him. So I am a soul and a half. And that was weird too. I was like, what the hell is this? But it made perfect sense because everybody I know had always said, you're not from here. You're not from here.
First off, thank you for sharing such a story. There's a lot of vulnerability and a lot of courage to talk so openly to my earbud coven about this. So thank you. I see that. And I'm so grateful because I know that it will touch people who are listening. And I want to give you a piece. So when you talk about only one piece coming back, there's teachings and trainings about this in the shamanic world, and it's called a soul death or soul shattering.
Yeah.
That when we witness things that are traumatic, and this is very traumatic,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it can happen in trauma with a big T like this or little t trauma, a piece of the soul leaves because it cannot. It just simply cannot. And it's so beautiful that you were gifted Tobias because you
Yeah.
were so young to have that otherworldly protector step in and keep you safe and have that symbiotic protector energy. Like what a
Yeah.
beautiful gift. There's many teachings and stories in the shamanic pathway about this phenomenon. It's not weird or strange. It's very, very beautiful to have your protector come in so close to you to give you the support you needed when you were such a small soul and such a small person. You didn't have good agency around your life.
Right. No, it's true. And it was interesting because over my bedroom is a massive lion head.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, during that same time period, there's a photo of me where I had a stuffed lion and it was my
Of
favorite
course.
stuffed animal. Of course, and I didn't know. All of that was, hidden from me. But when I had my most recent spiritual awakening was in October of 2023, I learned so much about myself. That's when I learned about Tobias. And
Mm.
it was really, the story's kind of weird and interesting. And I always say everything happens for a reason. There are no mistakes. But one of my husband's favorite pastimes is cannabis. He's
Sure.
retired, you can grow
Hey,
it.
I'm from Vancouver. You don't have to.
Okay, good. Okay. So he learned how to infuse it into gin. And our favorite cocktail at night, we would watch TV. We'd have a gin and tonic and watch TV. One time, he doubled the dosage.
Mm.
I didn't know. He was unaware that he did it by accident. It busted me spiritually wide open. I was told, you're going to teach Master the Upper Rooms. You're going to talk about human consciousness, 3D, 4D, 5D. This is how you get to the kingdom of heaven. All of this. I was told that you are the lamb and the lion. I didn't know what the hell that was. But when I looked it up, it was and when I told my brother, he was like, "Oh my God, I believe you." And
Mm.
because the lamb is a little girl, the lion is Tobias, and I even wrote in another book that I did, and I will just share this. I have not publicly shared this. I'm the author of The Undetected Narcissist. I'm Angela Meyer. I did the whole podcast series for 3 years about narcissism. And in my introduction of that book, I wrote, I'm the snake charmer. I'm not afraid of the narcissist. And I was also told that I'm the bearer of peace, that what they want me to teach will help humanity actually achieve the ascension process. And I was told you're going to reach out to 3 people, and one of them's going to bring you a book, and that book will answer everything you're supposed to do. And I did. And one of the people did come. I didn't tell him what was going on. He gave me a book, and he was like, "Oh my God, I know exactly what's going on with you." And he said, "Can you do this alone?" And I said, "No, I can't. I was shown there's all these other people with me, and we're all doing this together for humanity." And then I told my brother, I was shown the book, The Lamb of the Life. I've never read the Bible, anything. And my brother was strict Christian. And he was grilling me and testing me, knows all these Bible passages. He's like, what does the stairway to the kingdom look like? All this. I answered every question. And he's like, how do you know this? How can you answer this? I said, I have no idea. I feel like I'm going crazy. I know none of this. It was
Wow.
it was nuts.
Wild.
The purpose is for all of us is to ascend, to remember who we are and what we are, and to stop being so hateful, stop being so vengeful, to stop war and have peace.
Mhm. I know I was talking with another friend of mine, and we were talking about how if we can manage the war inside ourselves, like that's
Yes.
the true fight. Like we will be able to achieve peace within the macrocosm when we can go inside and achieve peace within ourselves. All of the pieces of ourselves, the shadow
Yes.
aspects that we want to deny, the things that cause us shame, all of those pieces of humanity that are reflected in so many different pantheons, right? So it was very interesting. It's very interesting.
Yeah, because a lot of people that are channeling right now are talking about we're supposed to become monads. We're supposed to become the Christ consciousness. We're supposed to align with our higher self.
Mhm.
And
What does monads mean? I'm not familiar with that term.
monad pretty much is where you are one with the creator. You're
Okay.
one with everything. You have mastered all the levels of 4D human consciousness, and you are an unconditionally loving human being. And that's where they say, if you listen to Paul Selig's work, what they're trying to do is get everyone to align to love, and love vibrates at the frequency rate of 500. It's been clinically proven by Dr. Hawkins, by map of human consciousness. All of our thoughts and emotions have a vibrational set point. So once that locks into place, you then are one with everything. You have love, you have joy, you have oneness, you have bliss. You're just pure consciousness. I mean, that's the highest state for all of us to achieve, is you embody it.
Okay.
You
Like on a
become,
day to day, because I know like when I do channel,
Yes.
I'm in that state. Like I'm in that
Yes.
consciousness. I wouldn't call it Christ consciousness because I'm not Christian. That's not part
Right.
of,
Well, no, and feel not
I'm
a Christian word to me.
so I wouldn't call it Christ consciousness because
Yeah.
that's not how I identify with
So
it.
it's pure consciousness.
Yeah. But I mean, we're still in a physical body. Like we still do
Yes.
need to go to the grocery store.
Right. And that's the misconception a lot of people have is they think, oh, I'm going to be walking around in this flowing robe and I'm going to be like, ooh, you're not. You'll still get irritated. You'll still get mad. But what the difference is you know how to bring yourself back up.
Ah,
You don't stay stuck there.
right.
You know how to calm yourself down. You know how to get to neutrality. You know how to forgive, find acceptance. You want understanding, like, help me understand what, why you did that. Instead of going, you're stupid, you're an idiot, blaming them, yelling at them, condemning them, you're compassionate.
So, so Kerie, you do a lot of teaching, and one of the things you're teaching right now is called Upper the Master Rooms, and it ties in these ideas of channeling and forgiveness and releasing and ascension and getting into the upper rooms. Can you tell the Earbud Coven a little bit about that program?
There's different aspects that I do. There is where I coach the person and I figure out what is energetically stuck. And I
Mm.
help them figure out, is it generational trauma? Because sometimes we can have that stuck on us and we're not aware. Because a lot of times, I mean, if I'm completely transparent here, how many of us sit down and talk to our parents and try to figure out what their life was like? How many times do we go to our grandparents and ask them,
Yeah.
what was your life like? How were you raised? How were your parents? A lot of us don't. So we don't know if there is generational patterns, or I like to say generational habits. So I worked with this one podcaster that had generational trauma around the subject of money, where there was always anxiety. There was making split decisions and poor financial, things. And I coached him on it. We got all that information consciously. But then what I also did was I made him a recording because I am a hypnotherapist. And what I did was I cleared all of that on the mom's side, on the dad's side. And I look at it as I cleaned the slate, the blueprint around the subject of money within him. And I raised it up into 4D, which where he went from anxiety and fear up into where he was feasible and flexible. I got him all the way up where he got up to forgiveness, he got up to acceptance, he got up to, reasoning and understanding of all of that. And I had him hold that state because that's the most important thing is holding that state. And that's the state of manifestation. And literally within 30 days he was like, oh my god, I did a podcast about it, I interviewed him. He was like, this was just amazing how you did this. And it's just raising you up and figuring out what's holding you back and what's limiting you, because the truth was this guy had plenty of money. He just was stuck in the mentality of, I don't have enough, I need to make more. And I'm like, dude, you make more money than me.
Scarcity mindset.
Yes. Yeah.
Scarcity mindset. Yeah. And a lot of that can be so generational,
Yes.
especially if we are from a family who fled war,
Yep.
fled famine,
Yep.
have lived through the Great Depression,
Yep.
right? And I can't actually think of anyone I know whose family in some way or shape, even the past 3 generations, haven't been touched by one of those things. Right? Like I live in Canada, and a huge amount of the people I work with have emigrated here fleeing terrible conditions. And my own ancestors, I have Irish ancestry, and they fled famine,
Yeah.
right?
So it's just clearing it and releasing it. We're an energetic being having a spiritual experience. All of our consciousness is in the subconscious mind. And when you channel and when you tap in, you are tapping into the subconscious mind, but also the superconscious mind, which is connected to the collective consciousness. Yes. And so when you do that work, you're clearing everyone on the mom side, on the dad side, going forward, going back, forgiving everyone, every situation, all of it. And literally, he said when he listened to it for the first 20 times, he went so deep. He's like, I didn't hear anything.
Wow.
But once he cleared it, he was like, then I heard what you were doing. You were clearing the generational trauma. And I didn't see this. I mean, the guy wasn't in my office.
Mhm.
He lives in New Zealand, I think. And I just emailed him the audio file. So I just, we're onions. Okay. And we got stuff. And I tell people, clear yourself and work on it, but we can really learn how to do this for ourselves. So when someone triggers you, that's your opportunity to go within and ask yourself, hey, why did I get triggered? What memory is associated with the emotions I'm feeling? And you'll get that message.
Mhm.
And then all you do is you forgive the people that are involved. You do the
Mhm.
Ho'oponopono, who it is. You forgive the situation. You forgive the energy around it. You do all of that. And when you know you've done it and it's complete, it's when you could see that person again online or face to face, whatever, and you don't care. You're like
Like the
totally
stories with
neutral.
you and your father, where you've
Yeah.
cleared it enough that you're
Yes.
in that place, in that 4D space, in that
Yes.
super consciousness where you're
Yes.
not being triggered. This is beautiful work, Kerie. It's beautiful. So, if my earbud coven wants to connect with you, how do they do that? What is your website and the easiest way to connect with you?
The easiest way to connect is the website is Master the Upper Rooms. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube. My name is spelled Kerie, last name Logan. You can just Google my name. You'll find just a bunch of stuff about me. And I'm a hypnotherapist, coach, author. I've been doing this for over 20 years, been voted the best hypnotherapist for the past 14 consecutive years for Salem, Oregon. And I love what I do, and I'm here to be of service.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much
Awesome.
for coming to the podcast and for everything you've shared with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did I get everything? Is there anything I missed in your
Nope.
bio?
You got it good. You did good.
Great.
You did good. Okay, so I need to now send you a Zoom
Yeah.
link. I do have a suggestion for you though.
Okay.
You ever put this on YouTube?
Um, yeah, because I think Google Podcasts like kind of merged with YouTube. And I do have a YouTube channel where I do readings and stuff.
Okay.
Because I do like I do so much love the audio when I'm just like first thing in the morning on a Sunday with a cup of coffee, just talking
Yeah.
to my coven, right? And no makeup, no nothing, no lighting, just like a cup of coffee in my coven. So I don't want to lose that feeling. So we'll see
Right.
how it grows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So let me run to the restroom.
Okay.